pleasant for you probably, but pleasant for us. We were just waiting. Hello, everyone. And here is another block chat with Denis Petrovcic and Makram Hani. Today, we'll be talking about the elephant in the room. You know, when people are talking, I'm playing with a rubber band all day today. I don't know why. Um, Today, hi, how are you, Dennis?
Oh, you
You
were
came
there with
on with the
the.
rubber band idea.
Yeah, I
I'm
thought I
playing with the rubber band.
maybe jump in.
It's going the wrong direction. This guy is okay. So everyone talks about Dennis. Everyone talks about property management. So look, we tokenize. That's the front end of what we do. Okay, that's
Yeah,
how you raise money. That's how you have a collaborative economy. That's how you engage people. That's how you make sense on a front end. But then behind the marketplace and behind all of those funds that are being raised, there's property. And property is very heavy on management. Actually, one of the biggest places or areas to make money or lose money in property. And that's what distinguishes great property investors from average property investors, probably, or that's one of the things that distinguish great property investors from average property investors. It's the management side. So it's a very important thing because much of the risk lies there. And by the way, we're shooting a spotlight, guys, with Daniel. Daniel is heading risk. We were supposed to shoot it yesterday. We had some connectivity issues, so we didn't. But I promise you that that spotlight every single person wants to see for two reasons. One, you'll get a different angle from someone who comes from an institutional background who heads risk and have traded derivatives and have been on giant transactions for big organizations. And then to you, you understand how we look at risk and how we mitigate risk and how we understand risk. Because to us, it's very important that we manage risk because there's always risk in everything we do. But managing it and mitigating it puts you on the right track. If there is a possibility of you having an accident, you don't stop driving. You just have a seatbelt and probably have some insurance. So the whole idea about that spotlight is risk. So I would want everyone to see it. But today we're talking about an element of where risks come, or one of the places that risks come, and one of the places of success. So in our business, Dennis, we have we're tokenizing, yeah? We're
yeah,
tokenizing property. People are buying into this property. They have here. We have achieved the most efficient method of passing value through the funnel from property to uh, individual end investor, from asset class to end investor. Today, in generally in collaborative investments, the conventional way, if you go into a fund, there's usually so many tranches that limit the transmission of value in its entirety. So what happens is you put 100 from here, what comes out of the other side is 70 or 75 or 60 or 80 or whatever it is. What we're trying to do is get it nearest to 100. And I believe we've done a great job at that. And then you would see other block chats and understand how did we do so. Today, we want to talk about the generating of value. So here is the investor, here is the property, the real estate asset, and behind it, behind the scenes, is all the hard work managing this real estate asset. And that's the back end of every marketplace. That's the back end of every single party trying to manage a collaborative investment effectively, efficiently, and sustainably and successfully. Dennis, what's your views on that? First, how important is property management in your opinion? And you're an investor in property. You don't come from a property background, but you're a property investor, and you manage your own properties yourself, which is very important. And I always say that that element there is very important because you have a different feel to property and what does it take to manage, and then you appreciate it more. What's your take on this?
well, I actually I wanted to be invested in property in a way where I can kind of have the whole spectrum of the investment, from being the investor and as well managing the property, and the property had to be of of a certain size so I can kind of really experience the whole basically life cycle of the property as an investor, as a property manager as well. So that's how I chose my real estate investments. Because of that, also because of Blocksquare, because you need to know as much as possible about the subject that you are involved in, even if that's just tech part. That's kind of the, I would say, the front side, but you need to understand what's happening in the back. So yeah, I think property management is one of the key factors of, um, in the end, having revenues, and out of those revenues having profits, right? Because you can you can essentially be a very um, theoretically good property manager, but be spending just over the top. And if you're not managing the property, that's gonna create expenses further down the line as well. So when you're entering an investment, I think, at least for me, it's very important to um, kind of, even if the capital expenditure is higher, just fix those things that during the lifetime of the investment are probably going to cause some issues, and might create a cost because, for instance, if I need to change the heating, major heating parts in an investment after 7 years, and my target was to hold it for 10 years, I'm creating a big expenditure 3 years before I'm exiting the investment. And what's going to happen is perhaps the buyer on the other side wants to do something else with that property, and that I'm never going to recoup that, or that's money lost, right? Um,
100%.
so that's kind of one of the things that you think of when you are investing in property. And then there's the regular maintenance. If you don't maintain, if you don't spend on, I don't know, again, heating system inspection, for instance.
Yeah,
Uh,
it makes a big difference in Dubai. Whenever you talk heating, I feel
yeah,
you here. We should maintain our heating systems 24/7
yeah,
all year round.
yeah. I was actually thinking of opening a company in Dubai just for that purpose. I think there's a huge market. There's no competition at all, really. There's nobody doing it. So,
And actually, you've mentioned maintenance. You've mentioned, by the way, facility management and property management is moving with technology, with the introduction of IoT, AIoT. It's moving from a preventative or proactive to preventative, and then currently it's predictive. It's them noticing patterns of what happens and how it happened. I was on a panel recently um, with a very smart individual who knows his business very well in UAE, and they're in facility management and property management. And they were talking about the kind of technology that they're implementing today, and it's amazing. And it works perfectly for a circular economy. When you look at the property from the real estate 6.0 methodology or theory of the whole cycle, it contributes hugely when it's managed right and when it's recorded right and when it's monitored right. So, but it's also very important to manage the tenant's relationship right. It's also very important to manage the lender's relationship right, and what's the borrowing terms and all of those. And all of those need specialists to deal with. So today in our world, when projects specifically, because we're categorized, although we're an infrastructure project, so we are a technology project. However, we are a company that creates things and sell it. Yes, this thing, be it infrastructure. You need a tunnel to pass from point A to point B in the physical world. You need our tunnel to pass from point A to point B in the digital world, whenever you're talking tokenization or transmission of value over distributed ledger technology or blockchain, which is one of it. The idea behind it being is, yes, we are marked like everyone else, and it seems like it's a curse today, specifically those days, that we are a crypto related project. And yes, actually, We're our backend is a DAO. We are a project which is Web3 driven, and we have that target. But let's redefine a project with what it does. Let's redefine a project regardless of um, what is the tool it uses. So if we use blockchain or we use a conventional old method of doing things, would it make a big difference if the underlying is a property and if the underlying asset is managed the way that is prudently supposed to be managed? What do you think? Should it make a difference?
I think it doesn't really make a difference, right?
It does a
You,
positive difference, maybe, yeah? Or it should do a positive difference.
I think, I think what if you're doing things right, my guess is that because of the qualities of blockchain, um, which creates like a permanent track record, right, of things, and if you have great product, then you have increasing demand. And I think as a property manager or a property owner or an investor, um, you know that it's much harder to acquire quality supply than there is potential demand on the market for that supply. So I think a lot of times we deal with the question, oh, the hard part is getting the demand. But I don't think that's the case, because
If you have the
people
right asset, everyone
people who
wants to
want
buy you.
to have hold quality investments, there's way more of them than people who hold access to quality investments. So there might be discrepancies in different times of what's more available, one or the other, but essentially, I think, you look at the city, you look at some heavily managed property like Airbnbs, for instance. Short-term rentals are, it's a high involvement in
Heavy
management,
management,
right?
yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. It's like running a hotel in the end, right? And if you, as an investor, if you also have a good team that manages that, that's going to create, much more in terms of profits to you than if you outsource this to somebody else. Then the profits are going to go to probably that management company, right? So
Sure.
you need to structure this. When you are thinking of tokenization, you need to structure this so that it makes more money to you, so that it makes more money to your followers, because what you're
If you know how
creating,
to
you're
do it,
creating followers, right?
if you know how to do it. If you don't know how to do it right, pass it on. I always say I wouldn't manage an Airbnb. I don't wear the hat of a hotelier when I come in the morning, and that's a hospitality driven business. It's an experience driven business. I give it to the pros in it if I want to do it, when it makes sense to do it. So the whole idea behind it, can I call us, Dennis, we're dealing with one of the most conventional businesses in the world, so you can call us one of the most conventional businesses in the world. The difference between us and Oracle provides database for people who are trying to run property software, isn't it? We provide infrastructure for people who are trying to raise for property project, be it a ready property, be it a non-ready property, does not matter. It can happen in a Web 2 dimension. It can happen in a Web 3 dimension. The difference is not the property. The difference is the toolkit that you are using on top. The difference is that um, offering and the way you offer. It's similar to you buying over the phone and paying by credit card over the phone, or signing an indemnity by fax and sending it. It's similar to that. Is that the right definition for it or description for it, Dennis?
It's a sales channel. On one side, it's a sales channel, and on the other side, it's it's a new experience. I would say a new experience of both sides, investors and investment managers, let's say, let's call them, or those providing the product, basically, the suppliers here, and the middleman, because in the end, the marketplace operator, it acts in a way as a middleman that creates uh, a safe environment for both parties to engage, even though from a contractual basis, the engagement is direct, as we said in the beginning. So I think this is like you can't really, in the end, fundamentally change how property is managed, right? But you can change how it is invested in.
Yes.
And tokenization is kind of changing the way how we invest in property,
Even that will evolve.
but
Okay,
not how
but
we manage it, right? That part. And
maybe. Look, I've seen
you
a few
think
days
there's,
ago, three
what do
days
you
ago.
think? Yeah.
I've
Okay.
seen a few days ago something that surprised me. We always should be learning. I've seen something that surprised me, and I didn't think that that was possible. And
Okay.
I've met a few guys, and what they're doing is they have a few buildings that are fully managed digitally. And
Okay.
I was shocked, and I saw the numbers, and I saw the client feedback, and it was amazing because they created such a smooth, seamless experience. Um, but I believe they're doing one thing very well, which property management companies usually fail at here and there. There is no compromise within their process. There's no cost saving or end cutting here or there. What they're doing is they're not cutting any corners. Every single part of the process is done properly. What they save money on is the efficiency of the process. And what they save money on is the marketing, because they don't need to market whenever they've marketed and acquired clientele who will come to them continuously and continue to refer people to them. So they're doing an
Yeah.
amazing job. And I believe
The tenant transaction part is, I think, the one that will most probably touch Web3 the first, right? Because it's, again, it's transaction of value, and you
those
can
guys
make.
are those guys are still Web 2.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
the whole experience is like seamless. They don't have human beings involved. They do have human beings. Who cleans the apartment is a human being. Who maintains it is a human being. But there's no that human interaction between a tenant and any member of their team. Okay, it's all done online. They pay online. They collect online. Everything is seamless. And I believe this is a major part of the whole cycle of tokenization and making sense of property. So that's increased efficiency and having efficiency pass through the polls, isn't it?
But just one question to the seamless digital experience. Just one question is, when a new tenant is inquiring about it, about the property, right? I guess it's like you mentioned, apartment. So I guess it's like the long term or mid term stays. So are they doing a viewing, or is that also
No
done
human
online?
intervention. It's all digitally driven.
Okay.
So you
So
inquire about the apartment, you can come and
how does
view it.
that experience look like? Is it like, do I book something?
You
Sorry,
book
I'm
a
going.
viewing. You book a
You
viewing.
book a viewing, you go there, you
You
check
reach
the
the
apartment
apartment. It
yourself, and
guides you
that's
to
it.
the
There's nobody
apartment.
there.
It guides you to the apartment.
Okay.
You tap your phone with the door to the door. It
Okay.
opens the door, and then
Okay.
the app on your phone will guide you through and will tell you about that property while you're going. And you have QR codes on the sides. You
Ah,
can
okay.
scan any of those QR codes, and it tells
You
you
get a
more
video.
about it.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. And to be honest, man, you don't need even the viewing, because the quality of their 3D of every property is amazing. And
Okay.
they tell you everything from view. They've done their work properly. And I believe this will help you, for example, coming to Dubai or Abu Dhabi, or me going to Ljubljana, to pick the perfect property for myself even before reaching there. You pay online, you book it online, you do everything online.
Hmm. That's very good. I mean, it's like, I think the hospitality kind of sector is especially with this short-term rentals. It's kind of already went into that direction, but I guess this is all going as well towards long-term stays as well, and so forth. And so yeah.
Yep.
But
And
in
that's
the end, this if this brings efficiency, if this kind of thing brings efficiency and it creates, let's say, um, shorter periods of no tenants, right? So of of vacancy.
less vacancy.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
if decrease it vacancy, if it's fully occupied, because for instance, what the type of properties I have, they have zero vacancy. So, but because of the process of
Now
how
you're
I
lucky there. Now you're lucky
I
there. It's not only you're lucky there.
yeah, because I choose to invest in a non-binary property. If you invest in an apartment, it's either you have somebody or you don't, right? And even if you have 10 apartments, changing um, a tenant in an apartment, it's kind of it's a different game. And I rent out rooms for students into properties, and that's a totally different thing.
So
But
you're renting out student housing in a property market that has shortage of student housing, well positioned, well located, and well taken care of. So that's the game. Yeah, that's the game. But still, property management is very essential. This is what we're saying here, and what we're saying also is behind the marketplace, behind the Web3 experience, behind the buying into, regardless of how you buy into the property. It can be you buying a token. It can be you buying a share in a property. It can be you buying directly into the property, the whole property. Regardless of how it is, that part is very essential. So you need to be aware that the back end is a property, and behind the property is management of this property. And that is essential for you to understand. That's essential for you to understand, to know three things. One, what business are we in? We're providing infrastructure to people who are doing exactly that. We're providing the front end of it and the tools to do so. Two, what business are we in? We're a project that is dealing with one of the most conventional businesses in the world, and we are modernizing the front end of it, the funding part of it, the money raise of it. This is what we're doing. We're modernizing the money raise of the one of the most conventional business in the world. So if someone of you today says, I want to invest in a conventional asset, not in a futuristic asset, voila, here you have it. Three, and that's very important, it's very important to understand the risks in that from a back end. When you invest in a property with a marketplace operator, how the marketplace operator is managing the backend. Again, they don't need to be managing it themselves. Maybe they have created an agreement with one of the best property managers in your city or in that city or in town. And maybe that uh, manager is doing a great job. Or maybe they have an in house team. Or maybe they used to be a property management company and it made sense for them to add this on top. So, regardless of who they are, it's very important to understand the management aspect of the property. And I believe, by the way, Dennis, we were talking about this a few days ago at Fibri with Yo and the guys. It's very important to standardize and neutralize, and standardization and neutralization of everything from methodology to terminology to all aspects of property management and property transaction is key, because then when you say that a property management company is managing with an efficiency of A plus, you know that A plus is the same all through. It's not that A plus in Slovenia means it's a great. A plus in let's say Lebanon means the best available, so it's average. You neutralize, you formalize a certain kind of understanding which is standardized among markets and among property categories and categories of the asset class, and that way your ability to make people understand the management side is there at a higher level. And that's something probably this block chat is to our partners as well as to everyone in our community and everyone interested in property tokenization, because people should understand that this is the core. Everything we're doing, we're working around the core. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get another channel, a new channel, to fund or to route even existing channel through a more efficient channel towards the property. So if you have a bag of value that you want to fill, if you used to fill it through 10 channels, be it direct investment, be it through REITs, be it through a fund, be it through a private equity placement, regardless of how it is, or directly, what we're doing is through a collaborative economy approach, what we're able to do is route all of those kinds of funding into one channel that goes into the pot of value that we were talking about, which is the property, and thus generating more value, and not generating more value because it generates more value. It's just that more value is swimming through the funnel to reach you. It means that exchange of value is of higher efficiency. Um, what do you have to say, Dennis, more about that part? Because I believe that we talk about it every meeting. We talk about property management. We talk about properties themselves. We talk about new properties that we're acquiring. I believe we acquired a new property that have been added. It's an Airbnb. Can you tell us more about it?
Um, well, which Airbnb? Sorry, but we have
Didn't we add an
I think
Airbnb 2 days ago?
yeah, we received an inquiry, so it's
It's
in
not
our due
added yet.
diligence. It's on our due diligence process. Yes,
Okay.
but a lot of times, yeah, a lot of times, if we're talking about the property management side, it's you need to understand how properties are managed in a certain market, and specific to a certain vertical of assets, of course, right? Property management, it might be part of the offering of the marketplace operator, but it doesn't need to be, because a marketplace operator can actually offer tokenization as a service to landlords who manage properties them on their, however they manage, right, the property. So it doesn't need to be like a unified, even though it makes it much easier for a marketplace operator if they simplify the structure they have. If they say, okay, you know what, we're going to have a tokenization marketplace, and for the first 2 years we're going to manage all the properties, we're going to acquire them, secure financing and tokenize them, etc. And why? Because it's less scalable, maybe, for the first 2 years, but
And
it
we want to
creates.
create a module maybe that we ask others to follow afterwards when we scale.
Exactly. But we as a marketplace, we're going to become an authority on the Czech market, or on the German market, or on the Spanish market, or the UK market. We want to become an authority so that we standardize how tokenized real estate is presented. Like you said, creating a way for people to understand what is A plus, right? And kind of not, and then they can drive the market forward with it. And I think this is kind of important. A lot of times we see teams who wish to create a very highly scalable model, but they forget that it might be more wise, or it might be wiser to have initially maybe a less scalable model, but that creates over the top investment products, because that's going to, as we said initially, there's probably less investable property than one might think. It's not like any deal is a great deal.
Yes. And with this, I want to tell you, modules are very important, and the processes are very important. You always remember McDonald's when you say processes. It's not that we're advocating for everyone to go eat McDonald's tonight. However, one of the most successful businesses in the world, I like it because first, it's real estate driven. The back end of it is real estate as well. However, McDonald's also started everything by doing things that have been done for so long in a slightly more consistent, more efficient manner, starting by the ice cream, which has no ice and has no cream. With this thought, Dennis, would you like to say anything else to our community?
I didn't know that McDonald's ice cream doesn't have no ice and
No
no cream.
way.
No,
No
I didn't know.
way.
No,
Really?
it's a weird thing.
Have you
Yeah,
ever watched the founder?
I actually I didn't, but you mentioned it a couple of times. It made a big impression to you, I guess.
So look,
I
yeah,
need
it
to watch
does.
it.
I don't
Yeah.
like the guy's approach maybe to business, or maybe I like it. I don't know. I don't
Mm.
see myself agree with part of his business ethic again, or maybe I do. I'm not sure of it. However, it's a success story, which is cool. Definitely, it's made to suit the cinematic setting. However, um, there is so much success in that process. There's so much success in that history. Um, I enjoyed the block chat today.
Me as
You
well. I
wanted to
wanted
say
to
something?
conclude this maybe with a question to you actually, because
Hmm.
a lot of times we address um, real estate investment companies, real estate entrepreneurs, right? About using tokenization. But I remember, and we don't have many of these type of inquiries, honestly. We should have more of them actually. But I guess that the leadership of these companies is not maybe inquiring about tokenization yet of this type of companies. And or maybe they don't feel that they can champion this market. But we've been talking about property management quite a lot today. That was actually the central theme. So the back end of every real estate investment is how you manage property, right? Um, do you feel that there's an opportunity for property management companies to be to champion utilizing te- tokenization technology and you know come to the market with such a product, because in my view they have access to the landlords who are their clients in the end, right?
A good question. Two parts of an answer. One, recently I've been chatting with someone that I've chatted coincidentally with around 2.5, 3 years ago. I don't know when. Um, he was in the region and he was planning to launch a tokenization business. And after around 2 years and a half, he connected with me again on LinkedIn and said, "Do you remember me? We chatted, and we really chatted once over Zoom at that time. And but I remember the guy." And I said, "Yes, I remember you. Let's chat again." Um, he eventually opened the business in Canada, didn't open it in UAE and the region. Um, However, at that time, the business was being sold to a property management company. So a property management company was buying his business because they felt there is value in that. So I believe yes. But let me here answer the second part of the question. You know, a few years ago, when anyone used to talk energy saving in a business, it used to be one of those cliches. It used to be one of those fun PR stunts to use. Yeah, people used to come out and say, "Yeah, we're all about green, and we're all about." Now everything starts this way until it makes so much viability and financial sense, and then it changes, isn't it? Um, Today, I deal with a company that what we provide is we come to a factory and we assess the amount of electricity they require, and through a program in Dubai called Shems Dubai, from Dubai government, from Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, we fix a solar plant on their top of university, school, or factory for free. They don't pay a penny. And we sell them electricity for 40 to 50% cheaper than the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority's price. And we sell them that and we bill them through Dubai Electricity and Water Authority. And now they're doing it factories and companies and schools, and they're doing it. Why? It's not anymore a stunt, a PR stunt. It's something that has commercial viability. So if what we do does have commercial viability, and we believe it does, and we hopefully understand a little bit about what we do, so we when we believe it does, it hopefully a little bit does here or there. Eventually, people will go beyond. Today, when people want to talk blockchain in a company, they talk blockchain most of the time, specifically if they're a real estate company, just because they want to be, they want to look as innovators and pioneers to the future. And in a way or other, it's fun sometimes to look that way. It's fun to appear that way. It's fun to evolve that way. But then, because it's not yet established, including the whole ecosystem for it, because it's not yet established, eventually people want to put food on the table, and companies need to match numbers and hit targets. And what they do is they drift with that. So this becomes or stays the thing in the ether, which is running behind them and around them. Eventually, however, the ecosystem will be ready, and they will see the efficiency in that system, in that process, in that approach, and that will get them to acquire and adopt practices that we're talking about and technology that we're talking about. And some will choose to do it sooner rather than later. But eventually, everyone will end up there if it makes commercial sense and if it has value, driven by value. And I believe, and you believe, I'm sure that it's driven by value, and we do add value. And our system and our technology does add value. So I don't see a reason why they don't all subscribe to it. But again, similar to how 60 years ago, when a company used to get a CRM system in, they used to get it just to show their salespeople and that we are advanced, but the usage of that was very low. Today, the usage of CRMs and ERP systems and systems that guide a customer experience and the revenue cycle in a company are so mature, uh, because they made sense and because they affected the business and because the business developed and grew. And we believe that the same will happen on our end. It's just a matter of everyone seeing commercial viability and the ecosystem maturing, which it does, and it's doing, and it does with time, and it will continue to do. And we need not only motivated regulators and motivated enterprises, which we have more of by the day. We need this global competition towards the betterment of humanity, towards the betterment of the human interaction with asset classes and with everything beyond that. And still, some will fall, some will stand. The base that everyone looks at today, and I'm so happy that everyone is going back to fundamentals, or many people are going back to fundamentals and saying real estate, and saying the assets that our grandfathers used to trade, the methods that our grandfathers used to trade. And I'm so happy about that because we've created um, a bridge to get you to the other end of the river, exactly to the land that your grandfathers used to plant, yet you're not anymore climbing a rope. You're sitting comfortably in a car and driving over a bridge. And this is what Blocksquare's infrastructure and technology is all about. We're providing you with that easy route to exactly what your grandfather owned, but suffered a lot to buy and hold. Dennis,
Okay, I think that's a perfect summary for this block shit, I guess. Perfect thought.
as I say, it's a long answer to a long, complicated answer to a very simple question that should have been answered in 2 words. Um, Guys, thank you so much for being with us today. I hope that this blog chat benefited you. What we're trying to do is dive deep in every part of the business. As you notice, we're trying to keep it 30 minutes. Sometimes I talk so much, so it reaches 40 minutes like today. However, we're trying to keep it 30 minutes because we want to transmit this value to you. We want to discuss everything. We don't want to keep any part, the elephant in the room, hiding. We want to discuss every part and we want to make sure that it's viable to you and to us. and eventually it's viable to everyone in our community to be supporting the project and to be supporting Blocksquare, and what we're doing, to be supporting Ocean Point as well and what we're doing there. Everyone is asking about the progress of version 03. For whoever is not, please do ask. Go in, check our roadmap, and check what are we doing, what have we done to date. If you're not asking about where's version 03, because probably you're not supporting our project yet, go and check it out and ask us questions. Ask us questions that we hopefully can answer and add value to you and our community with. Dennis, thank you for this evening. It's what is it,
Yeah.
7 o'clock now your time?
Yeah, something like that. It's
Yeah,
that's
it's 10
about
o'clock
right.
my time, 10 p.m. Dubai time. Guys, enjoy it. Thank you so much, Dennis. Have fun.
Thank
And
you, Makram.
until the next block chat, there's two coming that are very important. I've told you about one. There's another one that's coming with a partner of ours that's very interesting. Okay, you will not see only faces like Dennis's and mine. You will see some pleasant faces after all, and that partnership is something we're also very
Proud
excited
of.
about. Sure you are
Yeah.
as well. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. Have a good evening. Ciao, ciao.